day, the rule of thumb used to be for Disney animated movies, particularly during the Disney Renaissance, was to come up with a concept that only animation could do. A mermaid falling in love with a beast that's, basically a human, a genie, etc., etc., etc. But as VFX improved, it became harder and harder to find something that live action wasn't capable of doing. And in fact, it came to a point where Disney was like, why don't we just remake these movies in live action? And it has turned out, ka-ching, quite well for the Mouse House. But I gotta tell you, having seen all these movies, for the most part, they still, VFX, as good as they are, still can't capture the anamorphism, whatever the word is, that animation has, right? Like a live action fish that can talk is not as fun as an animated one. I mean, let's just face facts. And I think that the adaptations that rely more on such creatures have a little bit of a harder time. I think that's why Aladdin, probably for the most part, the most successful. But I've really been enjoying them. I have a good time. But I'm a big Disney fan. I love all these movies. I watch them again and again on Disney Plus to the point where I could act them out for you right now. I've watched Waking Sleeping Beauty. I know all about the behind-the-scenes story of how the Disney animation renaissance came about. I know all about all the key players, Jeffrey Katzenberg, Howard Ashman, Alan Menken, Michael Eisner, etc., etc., etc. So, if you don't approach this with the zeal of a comic book movie, this might not be for you. But there are a lot of people who do love it that much, like myself. And some of us are multifaceted, and we love the comics, and we love this. And so for us, we're forgiving. We're as forgiving as some people are to comic book movies. Now, of course, people are becoming less and less forgiving of comic book movies. And we'll see what happens with this film. I have to say, I am a roller coaster of emotion watching the trailer, going from sheer ecstasy to stark disappointment. Because I think this thing's all over the place. But like the ocean that you see before you. But I think the peaks look awfully high. And so I think, there's something here. Also, it helps that I actually did not care for The Little Mermaid. I gotta tell you, I don't like the original that much. I agreed that Ariel had no interests of her own. And so, again, if you don't know, the reason Belle is so into reading and being such an independent woman is because there was such a backlash to Ariel at the time of the release of that movie. There were a lot, it was not good. And I mean, Lin-Manuel Miranda has promised that for this film, his Ariel is going to be a lot more well-balanced. And I'm excited for that. So I think this movie, more than any of the Disney Renaissance animation movies, has room for improvement. So I'm willing to forgive some of the not great visuals. And I got to tell you, some of the not great acting. I thought it was a really amazing thing for them to introduce the trailer, not as an advertisement during the Oscars, but during the actual telecast. So I thought that was cool, but at the same time, I think it underscored that this movie ain't gonna win no Academy Awards. It might for the singing, for Halle Bailey. She seems like she's doing a wonderful job. And then also, maybe for maybe hair. I think Halle Bailey's hair looks amazing. There's Hairgate. Is her hair red enough? It looks amazing. Her hair looks phenomenal. So, you could have other elements, and, maybe, I don't think that, I'd be really surprised if it was nominated for VFX, but let's wait till we see the final thing. But anyway, some of the acting here, and I feel bad because, I think Halle Bailey and Melissa McCarthy are clearly, and have said, are huge fans of this material. And so I think that their performance feels a little bit too married to the original. Like they almost, you can tell how much they love it, and they're thinking about it while they act it out instead of just, being the character. Like Javier Bardem, I wouldn't be surprised if he's never even seen The Little Mermaid, and he's doing a real good job, at least in this trailer. So let's take a look, let's break it down, and I'd love to hear what you think are the highs and low points of this trailer. All right, so we start out, look at that lightning in the background. Oh, I like this a lot. This is a high point for me, and I'm glad they started it out with a high point. And so I think that, of course, while there's a sequence like this in the animated movie, you feel here real danger, like even more so. You're like, wow, you in danger. And look at that. And so then you see the ship and it looks great. And you know what? I'm so happy this ship looks normal sized. It's a little smaller than, of course, ships today, but that's what it's really like. If you've ever had the opportunity to go on board a real vessel like this, it's pretty cool. But so, sometimes when they do these adaptations, they're like close enough. But this looks like like a genuine ship and genuine danger. And I really love that. Oh, there he goes, right into the drink. It's not looking good for Prince Eric. And I like how the sound of the ocean, when you watch the trailer, the sound of the storm all goes away as he falls into the silence of the ocean and you hear Ariel's song. Oh, isn't that great? That's really beautiful. Not only is it the siren song of sirens from lore, but this one's coming to rescue you. But I think it just pluses the material. I really love it. I think it looks just great. So he's sinking down, and Ariel's like, this is the only guy I've ever seen, so I can't tell, he's kind of bland and boring. So she picks him up, and she takes him towards the surface. And look at that. I love this shot. Again, real danger. And it looks a wee bit like a water tank, but I don't care. I think it's really cool. I have to say, there looks like so much real danger that for the first time, I'm like, what about everybody else who went into the water? Is everyone else okay? There seemed to be a lot of crew on that ship. Is everyone else like, where's our mermaid? And Ariel's like, sorry, I'm the only one who's disobeying my papa. So she saves him. I think that's a gorgeous, really beautiful shot. And I have to say, Halle Bailey has a really great athletic look. I believe she could save him, I think she looks great. So she's pulling him ashore. And this is the famous shot. So famous that Wonder Woman did it and did it really well. So the bar is high. The bar is high of the famous beach sequence. Throw him back, Ariel. I don't like this Prince Eric. I'd be like, if I were Sebastian, I'd be like, let's go check out some other beaches. There's ships in the sea every day, man. I feel like we got to be able to do better than this. But this is the Prince Eric we've got. So he looked, oh, look, he's hurt. He's injured. Unlike the original movie where he was just fine. He coughed up some seawater, but he's a little bit messed up, a little banged up. And so they have the great shot, and look, see, I love that. And then she does the look. It's the famous look, the out of focus look with the sun behind her. I love it. And look, there they are. That's his castle, and his people are going to look for him. It's tough. I'm really glad they picked an Ariel that better represents, the region of the music that was made so famous by the first film. And clearly they seem to have moved the action to the Caribbean, which I think is wonderful. But, does that mean, and, of course the Caribbean has been a diverse, it was speaking of Lin-Manuel Miranda, Alexander Hamilton, right, was from that area. But he sure as heck, his ancestors weren't born there. So I'm like, is Eric an oppressor? Let's just not talk about it. All right. So anyway, I like this rack focus, by the way. I'm like, ooh, look at the castle. It's out of focus. Look how sharp the figures are in the forefront. That's pretty neat. So they're like, where could he be? Oh, there he is. I don't know why they would think he was on the shore. All right, so anyway, look how great her tail is. Look at that. So beautiful. How'd they miss that? Although it kind of fits with the ocean, I guess. But the sunlight dancing off the waves. It's gorgeous. I'm like, wow, Ariel, your tail is amazing. And I think her hair looks great. She looks great. Look, palm trees. Oh, wow. So great. I'm seeing this on a premium format for sure. And there she is. That looks great. She makes me want to go swimming, and I don't like going to go swimming. I'm not a fan, but I'm like, that looks refreshing. So Disney 100 years. And this is definitely one of the iconic building blocks of the company. Like, wow. Little Mermaid was frozen back in the day. All right. So there's her treasure trove. And look, she's talking to this fish. Now, I had fish. I liked my fish. I took very good care of my fish, but I didn't hang out with them. In fact, they were quite stupid. If I went away for more than 12 hours or 24 hours, they totally forgot who I was. A little bit more like Dory from Pixar's Finding Nemo, etc. So I think, when I told you I've watched all these animated movies so many times, but I actually had to stop watching Cinderella because in that sequence when she's talking to the birds and the mice, I'm like, she's lost her mind. She's been locked in this tower for so long, she's gone insane. It's different when you're an adult. You're like, let's help her. Women helping women. And here, I'm like, boy, if I were Ariel, I'd want to get to the surface world too. Look, she's stuck being friends with fish and crabs. These are not real things, she needs some other friends. Like in the animated movie, it seemed fine. But here, I'm like, oh man, maybe if Triton had introduced her to some other merfolk, she wouldn't be having this problem. So yeah, but she looks so cute here, Halle Bailey. So she's got her treasure trove. She's got some stuff, and she's like, uh-oh. And look at that. Is that even supposed to be Prince Eric? I'm like, who's that supposed to be? I don't think that's him. That's a pretty sexy statue there. He's doing a fashion model pose. It's Derek Zoolander up there delivering blue steel. And so, yeah, I mean, who's even looking at that when you got Javier Bardem next to him, though, who looks really cool. Very dark and underwater. I guess the underwater it is dark, but couldn't they have figured out some lighting ability like they have so brilliantly for Ursula? I'd be like, maybe Ariel made friends with some fish that light up, right? And she's like, hey, you guys want to hang out in my collection area? Because I can't see my collection. So anyway, he's like, what the heck is this thing? She's like, he was going to drown. And I'm like, oh, let's take it again and work on your acting just a little bit. Because I want her to come across her best, her absolute best. She's adorable. She's a living Disney princess. I want good things for Halle Bailey. And so he's like, this has got to stop. And you can sense the desperation in his voice because he knows they're headed for disaster. But I'm like, Papa, who made your crown? That looks like human craftsmanship, you hypocrite. A lot of this stuff looks like it came out of the Beauty and the Beast movie, to be honest with you, the live action one. But that's a pretty nice crown. He's got a lot of bling. You think he'd understand the importance of a collection. So maybe I would. His crown is so impressive. I'd be like, maybe we should give Ariel a crown because she's a princess after all. I mean, she has a sporty look, but I'd be like, I don't know. I'm kind of digging this. Can we get like a princess version of this for her to wear around? So there's Eric. But she's never seen a human before, so she thinks he looks great. Eric better be like, I think we should just stick to the castle grounds. So I love the idea of fire. That's the most amazing shot right there. That shot. That's the shot. She looks so great there. And look at her hair. And I love the variety of texture, right? I mean, it just is stunning. That has the effect of the cool underwater hair sequences from the animated original, which were really amazing. But she has this look of power on her face and defiance. She's going to go check it out. I love it. And I love that the fireworks would reach her down below. And of course, they have nothing like that down there. Or they kind of do, but it's really neat. Fireworks, fantastic. A big part of the original movie. And of course, Disney theme parks. All right, so she's like, see ya, weird fish. And I have to say, the voices they chose are famous actors, obviously, but they sound so much like the original characters to the point where you're like, why didn't you just... I guess they have slightly different dialogue, but I'm like, it's so similar. So she goes to investigate. She's like, I believe they're having a party up there. Now there's Ursula's lair, and this is an upgrade. Speaking of upgrades, Ursula has a lot of upgrades, apparently except for herself, for her lair, with going through the open mouth. Oh my God, talk about a red flag. Don't go in there. So I like also the sharpness of the bones, right? That looks great. I'm like, I think we should turn around, Ariel. All right. And there she is. So I love the idea of the tentacles lighting up. That was a great idea. Too bad they are attached to Melissa McCarthy. I want to like Melissa McCarthy in this role, but she is not only doing a drag performance, which I think is great, but then I wish they had an actual drag performer in the role. Either a man performing drag, or some of you have pointed out women can perform drag. But, let's find one who's good at it. Like, I still feel Lady Gaga would have been so amazing in this role and would have been, I think, an olive branch to the LGBTQ community. But yet, it's a difficult balance. It's tough. It's tough. It's a difficult situation. But I will say that this ain't it. This is not it. I don't care how much Melissa McCarthy loves The Little Mermaid. She does not belong in it. So anyway, she's like, and I gotta tell you, I think in some of these shots, they're not letting Halle Bailey look her best. I'm like, that's not a good angle, considering how good she looked in the other shot. She's like, can you do that? And I think clearly both of them are like, oh my God, we're doing the scene. And you're like, I know you're doing the scene, but you can't know you're doing the scene because your characters have never done it before because it's new to you. And I'm getting Ghostbusters vibes off of this. And I kind of had a good time when I saw Ghostbusters in the theater because I was just swept up in the moment. But yeah, it's bad when I rewatched it. I fully admit it did not work. And here I'm just like, and she's like, it's what I live for. And you know what? When you think about drag and the LGBTQ community, and you think about the transformation that Ariel goes through, there could have been some really interesting elements there. And they're already there. And so why wouldn't you explore that maybe a little bit? I think that could have been really interesting, When for some reason, when Melissa McCarthy said that's what I live for, that's kind of the vibe I got off of it. And I was like, ooh, that's an interesting thing to explore. Especially that's what the whole point of these live action adaptations is, to do a more sophisticated deep dive. But again, it's not working on the way. And also, she looks so poorly lit. That's great. I love that. Although it seems like they're on puppet strings, you know, like they're like, I don't feel like those are VFX tentacles, but I feel like there's someone in a green screen suit holding on to the end, running over to Halle Bailey, being like, whoop, there's the tentacle. And you're like, why don't you just make those VFX tentacles for some reason? But it's a really cool idea. If they were VFX tentacles, they'd move better and they would light her better. Now this, super Ghostbusters. I'm afraid, but I heard this sequence was amazing. So maybe once the music is pumping and we're really in the theater and it's surrounded by this and the visuals are really big blown up in front of us on a premium screen, it'll work. But I'm like, that's gorgeous. What's that joke that they make about Miss Piggy? It's a hilarious joke. Yeah, it's at the beginning of the Muppet 3D attraction, actually, in Hollywood Studios now it's called. And Statler and Waldorf go, oh, isn't that a gorgeous scene? Too bad that they put, well, I'll just say, well, they're a little bit more blunt, but too bad they put Miss Piggy in the middle of it. And that's kind of how I feel looking at this shot. All right. So this looks very CGI. So she's swimming. I hope they found a way, just like they did a good job handling her shirt. I hope they found a way to give her pants when she gets up here. So that's right out of the animated movie. Oh, it looks great. And she looks so great. She looks adorable, right? Oh, I love it. I love her hair. I think she looks great. And Awkwafina is Scuttle, and, that's the gag about what could be different about you. But then, of course, he's standing on the new legs. That looks cute. Although they really look like they're on a soundstage. They don't look like they're actually on the beach to me at all. And I know they actually filmed on the beach, so how the heck is this the situation? And there's Sebastian. I'm not feeling it. I love Sebastian as a character. That's an awful lot of seaweed up there. Where are they? And she's got legs. Oh, I love it. So then she starts the singing. She's very good at it. So there she is under the sea. I like that shot. That was one of the better shots. Although I have to say, it's the ocean. And you ever looked at an aquarium? They are jam-packed full of fish. A lot of space here. I'd be like, we need more fish. I mean, aren't these make-believe? I can therefore render as many fish as I want. More fish! Like more cowbell. I'd be like, more fish. Not enough fish. Not enough fish. I'm like, what is this, a private party? Although I have to say, when you look at Sebastian this way and you see his legs, it's both creepy and cool. Because you're like, oh, he'd actually look like that. Oh, no, I gotta tell you, he's kind of unfortunately making me want seafood. So I think that we're gonna have real conflicting opinions with the Les Poissons song, with the chef, because we're gonna be like, oh, actually looks like seafood now. Uh-oh, I feel bad. So that's funny. I didn't even think of that sequence. That's going to be great. So that's great. The jellyfish, the sand threw me because the sand isn't everywhere. I was like, she's pulling a Tony Montana. What's going on here? But yeah, so she's rolling around in the sand. I think someone on set was like, hey, we can have sand. And I think someone should have said, I gotta tell you, it doesn't look that great when you use it. So we should cut the sand because they use it a little bit later and it's not cool. So I'll show it to you. So, all right. So anyway, so there she's hanging out with another, just one fish. You're like, just one fish down here. And this, again, too sparse, but that looks great. So then she throws up the sand, right? And I'm like, I don't think it would work that way in water, right? This looks almost exactly like the Be Our Guest number from, because it also was like using anamorphic whatever animals, right? Or beings in a big musical number. But I like the wide shot. This is more what I'm thinking. This is more what I'm thinking about terms of number of fish. But we need more. Even more. I should hardly be able to see through it. It should look like the club, right? Like, and you're like, those club shots in movies, and there's Ariel down front. She's got a booth, right? I mean, that would be awesome. And it looks like this, I don't know, this looks more like a cabaret. And I think that's interesting because I don't like cabarets, but I like clubs. I'd rather be in a club. Maybe some people want to be in a cabaret, and this looks good to them. So she looks great there, though. And I like the way her movements, too. I mean, I can't hear the song that's actually going on in this sequence, but I can kind of feel it through her performance. So that's really cool. And by the way, for her to, I know there's a giant light shining on her, but still, for her to stand out so small with all this other stuff on screen, good for her. I mean, she really stands out. You're like, oh, Ariel. I love it. There's Prince Eric. Bland and boring. There's his castle, though. That's funny. That's how they cut. They were like, he's not the greatest prince, but look at his castle. That looks great. I like that it looks more like a fort, like it would in the Caribbean. There's a little bit of a Pirates of the Caribbean feel here. I wish that Johnny Depp was in better shape. I'm almost tempted if I were Disney and Bob Iger to see if he was, because I'd be like, do you want to do a cameo in The Little Mermaid? Just like maybe even an end credit sequence, because that would be incredible. It would make my day. So that looks great. Love it. Looks like there's like a miniature golf course maybe back there. I love it. It looks really good. I know, boy, look how great she looks there. That's my favorite shade of pink she's got on. I think she looks absolutely stunning. I think the natural color of her hair looks great. She looks so good. And pink is actually, now that I think about it, a nod to the dress, of course, that the ball gown that she wears in the animated movie. She looks great there. There are her sisters. Some of you showed me that the toy for this leaked, and they are indeed different nationalities to represent the 7 Seas, which I think is a chef's kiss. Talk about Chef Louis, a great idea. I think they look phenomenal, and I'm excited to meet all of them. I'm like, oh, this is the content I want to see. And look at this. So here's my favorite. I like 2. All right, so there's their dad, all right? And he appears with all the sardines, right? They're like, Dad, it's all over our place now. This is ridiculous. But look, oh, wait, I had a better shot of them. Hold on, let me find it. Oh, yeah, there they are, kind of. I love the pink hair. This is them. All right. I like the pink hair on that one on the right. She looks phenomenal. I love her hair. It's that light pink color that I told you I like. And then on the right, her makeup and her shirt. Oh, I like that. I don't know if I could pull off the makeup, but I love shirts like that, as you know. I love like rash guards, like, very tight sheer patterned shirts. And I'm like, oh, where do you shop? You look amazing. So that's great. I'm excited to meet those. And I want to see what oceans they represent. So there's Ariel. Oh, there she goes. She's like, see ya, losers. I'm going to the surface world. Now I feel bad because this is an iconic shot. It's the shot from the animated movie. And it doesn't look as good as it could. I feel like I'd be like, we just have to cheat it somehow. I think some of you have pointed out that the hair, someone needs to zhuzh the hair. You got to come in there and zhuzh the hair. And then also, I think she's not being allowed, they made her actually have to hold herself up like that. And it's she's not able to elongate her neck enough. So I feel bad because that shot doesn't look as good as it could. And you have all the components there. So I don't understand why they weren't like, all right, let's do it again. Because it's just not fair to Halle Bailey, who can do the shot. So just singing, and he's like, oh, he's upset. He's real upset, boy. He's very angry. He's like, whoa. And she's standing up to him. And then we have the kiss the girl sequence. That looks very pretty. I'm excited for this sequence. There he is, coming to the rescue. We all know what that's from. Then there's the big Triton. I'm excited for the big finale. And then more fireworks. Look at that shot with her going after the ship. That's phenomenal. That's right out of the beginning, right out of the animated, not the beginning, but right out of the animated movie. Look how great the moon looks. What a night. How do you not fall in love on a night like that? And then she's like, the surface world is amazing. And then with all these dolphins, which is tough because I think they've had a lot of shots like this in both Aquaman and Avatar 2. And unfortunately, they looked better VFX wise. And I don't know why they decided to have her. I know that she's supposed to be backlit because of the sun, but I'd be like, I don't know, figure it out. Nobody's going to be sitting there going, oh, I think she'd be just shadowy because the sun's behind her. I'm like, I'd like to see Halle Bailey, please. I never watched The Little Mermaid and couldn't see Ariel. They weren't too concerned about that. So The Little Mermaid, don't be a hater should be the subtitle of that movie. Just don't be a jerk, man. Just have fun. And I think it looks like fun. I'm excited for it. I am having fun. Even the things that I don't like, we can laugh about. So what did you think? What did you think of the trailer? What are your thoughts? What do you think are the best parts? What do you think could be better? Share your thoughts down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.